A few hours ago, the Indian Prime Minister, addressing a conference of chief secretaries, has implored them to end, quote unquote, mindless compliances, over-regulation, and to start accepting self-certification. That if a company says, yes, I am following these rules, they should be trusted and found guilty if not found in compliance, not assumed that they will not be in compliance and therefore cannot function until some babu comes and says, okay, is fundamentally important. Now, let me open up this telecast. Joining us on the broadcast with me is Dr. Jaijit Bhattacharya, is President of the Center for Digital Economy Policy Research. Sunil Sanghai, CEO of NovaaOne Capital. Ajay Data, founder and CEO of Data Xgen. And Madhav Das Nalapat, the Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian. I'm going to ask my guests if they can share some anecdotal evidence with us. Jaijit, I mean, what has been the worst compliance nightmare that you or your friends have ever come across with in your career?
I mean, as you said, there are over 69,000 compliances. I can go on for hours on what were the nightmares. Let me just take one example that I ran after from around 2006, 2007 onwards, because I was horrified when I came across this particular regulation when I was trying to set up an aggregated booking for the bread and breakfast that was coming up for Commonwealth Games. And it turns out that Sarai Act, which was under the then Punjab government, which encompassed Haryana and Delhi, mandated that every hotel must have a stable for a horse and must also provide a earthen pot in front so that travelers can drink. And hotels were getting fined for it because they were not keeping this earthen pot. And they did not.
Jaijit, are you trying to say if I come to your B&B, you will not have a stable for my horse?
And I'll get fined for it. And a princely sum of rupees 20 per day, I'll get fined. And this is obviously a 19th century regulation. And even the money was not increased. But the point is that nobody would like to run business which is not aligned to the law of the land. Now, if the law of the land has not evolved, then it becomes a significant overhead to manage it. And as you rightly said, there are armies of people within the companies which are managing the compliances. And that's an overhead, that's a national loss that's happening. In addition, what has happened, to be fair, this government with a vengeance has gone ahead and removed many of these archaic laws and is trying to clean up as much as possible. But unfortunately, most of the focus is on issues related to big companies. Now, the big companies, as you pointed out, Rishabh, have armies of people who take care of the smaller issues, the noises in that sense. And it's only the large, big issues which get bubbled up. And those are the ones which are being resolved very, very efficiently by this government. However, we need to now start focusing on the issues faced by small companies. And unfortunately, small companies are run by one or two people.
Yeah.
If 80 to 90% of the time has gone into compliances, when will they grow the business? And when
the problem, Jaijit, is not that we do it. Jaijit, how do we do it? I mean, we've come a long way, but it's not far enough. Do we need sweeping acts of parliament? And of course, the moot question, why would a bureaucratic machinery want to disempower itself? Because this is their point of power. And some people like it that way. Some people profit from it that way.
No, I think it's a fundamental question, because the Indian bureaucracy, a large part of Indian administration was set up, as one of the previous speakers said, to actually stop the Indian industry to grow. And we have followed on that. We have regimes of inverted duty structure where it's cheaper to import than to produce locally, because the tax on the components are much higher and the imported product is duty free. And therefore, these have to be political actions. We cannot expect the bureaucracy to change, and they're not mandated to change, by the way. The bureaucracy has been asked to follow the process that has been laid out to them. The policy is wielded by the political class, and therefore the political class are voted by the people. The people want the change, and that has to be expressed through the political class by taking the policy decisions, just like the current regime has done. From 2014 onwards, I've been part of the process of ease of doing business. They've gotten hammer and tongs in year after year of pushing the ease of doing business. There is no hand-waving answer to it, because we have collected all these processes over 200, 300 years. So we need to go one by one and clean them up. And there has to be a larger cultural change that needs to be brought in. For example, we brought in Swachh Bharat. People were laughing and joking and said, when can India ever be clean? It will never be clean. And we have seen significant change that has happened. And ordinary people and children, the moment they look at any dirt on the ground, any garbage, they pick it up and clean it up, right?
Okay.
And that was not the case 10, 15 years back. So there is a cultural change that needs to be brought in, and there has to be a political push.
Okay, so